So, Hari Om, everybody who is here. It's been a while, and so we are on the portion where Bhagwan is going. He has explained Kshetra, and it was very easy to explain Kshetra as we all experience it, we know it. And he is now going into Kshetrajna. But before directly jumping into the explanation of Kshetrajna, Bhagwan is saying, I will first give you the qualifications that are required to even understand what Kshetrajna is. Because to understand Kshetra, qualification is not required. We are already qualified. We are already living in Kshetra. We are already experiencing it. We already think it is real. We already know what it is, etc., etc. But Kshetrajna, to understand Kshetrajna is not very easy, and therefore qualification is required. And the qualifications, there is a 20-point program that Bhagwan has given. At a lower level, why is Bhagwan calling it Jnanam? Because they are the means to that knowledge. And therefore, Bhagwan is calling them as knowledge itself, but actually they are means. But if you take them a notch higher and think about it a little bit more deeply, you will understand that they are actually knowledge itself. But we are not at that level, so we can take at the lower level and start practicing this. And he started off with Amanitvam, absence of pride. I told you at a lower level that we must recognize the fact that there is really nothing that we can achieve. We have whatever we have achieved so far, and whatever we will achieve in the future, we cannot do it with some help or the other. Somebody's help or other is required. And therefore, to take complete pride for our achievements or for whatever that we have is not correct. At a higher level, mana is measuring by space, time, and objects. If we can drop that, we are the supreme reality, because right now we measure ourselves because of time, because of space, because of objects. Adambitvam, pretentiousness, to pretend to be something which we are not. We are pretending to be the body, mind, and intellect. If we can drop that, we are the pure reality, pure self. But at least at our level, we should not pretend, exaggerate whatever we have, or pretend to be something which we are not, where others might feel bad. We should not be doing that. Adambitvam, ahimsa, violence at the level of the body, speech, and mind. Ahimsa, if we can recognize the self in me to be the self in all, there will be no violence at all against anybody, because it is our own reflection. We are not going to hurt our own reflection. But at a lower physical violence, we don't get into. We shouldn't be, and we don't. By speech, is saying harsh words becomes ahimsa, so we can watch that. And in the mind, definitely we should not have any bad feelings for anybody. These qualities are actually leading only to a peace of mind. Shanti, forgiveness. I told you the highest state of forgiveness is to even not consider that the other person has done anything wrong. So where is the question of forgiving? But at a lower level, we can forgive and forget. We must be able to forget. That is the hard part. We may even forgive, but it's hard to forget what that person has done, but we can try. All these we can try. Acharya Upasanam, very important, because Acharya is one who has collected all the information from his gurus, Chi Dhatu, I told you. And not only that he has collected that information, he has got that knowledge, he is also demonstrating it in his achara behavior. So Upasanam, to sit near him, to be near the Acharya, we can imbibe his quality. We can see what he's demonstrating, and we must be able to imitate those. In the beginning stages, we might just try to imitate, but then we will, if we are close enough to him, we will imbibe those. And a closeness, there is one which is a physical closeness, which is also required to see how he behaves. But the more closeness is of the mind. So the mind has to be attuned to his mind. So how he is thinking, we must be able to think. Now this Acharya, I told you, the first line, he is actually, sorry, I missed Arjavam, straightforwardness. So no guileness, no manipulation. That should be. And Arjun, we have seen, Arjanath Arjun. So he was a very straightforward person. asking questions for the genuine reasons. The first line, the Acharya is following it. So if we only stick with Acharya Upasanam, we'll get the first line also. Okay, Shaucham, purity, purity of physical purity, body, purity of speech, purity of mind. All these three have to be worked. Purity of speech, body is very easy, soap and shampoo. Speech is through name of the Lord. And that is the importance of japa or chanting the Bhagavad Gita or chanting any mantras, Vedic mantras, etc. That is what it is. That because how do you purify speech? That it is by the name of the Lord. And the mind purification is absence of likes and dislikes. So if we can remain on an equal keel at all times, the mind will become peaceful, and that will be the gateway to gaining that knowledge. And that's why the principles of karma yoga are given. In bhakti, the mind is only thinking of the Lord. It is becoming single-pointed. That is what purification of mind is, single-pointedness of mind. The mind is very multi-directional right now. We need to make it more and more focused, more and more single-pointed. Stairyam, steadiness, steadfastness is extremely essential on this path. It is a difficult path. We are so fickle-minded. The mind cannot think of one thing also. For a few, it'll start thinking of the body also is very fickle. The body is, sometimes constantly shaking, whatever. So there has to be steadfastness in the body, then in the mind. And because of that steady mind, the knowledge will also remain steady in there, whatever is gained. Atma vinigraha, self-control. Atma here I told you is not Atma, it is body, because Atma doesn't need any control. So Atma here, self-control of the senses, control of the mind. And control of the mind is not letting the mind go out, and control of the senses is not letting the objects come in. So that is Shama and Dama, that is what it is. And that has to be a practice. We have seen those qualifications given way back when we studied Tattva Bodh. Okay. Indriyarteshu vairagyam. So dispassion, extremely important qualification. Dispassion is not dislike. We must understand that. It is going beyond like and dislike, which means that when there is a thing, object, situation, person whom I like, I'm happy. But if there is something which I like and it is not there, it is not available, I must not be unhappy. That is the key. That if things are there, okay, that's fine, no problem. But when those things which I don't like are not, which I like are not there, I become upset, then that is not vairagya. Or most of the times, things that I don't like are there. The snowfalls or, whatever. Then also I should not be disturbed. And that is what dispassion is. That's why it is described as going beyond like and dislike. That when there is something which I like, then I'm all, jumping up and down. But when there is something which I don't like, which definitely is going to come to me, then I'm all depressed. It shouldn't be like that. Anahankara, ahankara, aham karoti iti ahankara. I do, the I do notion. I do and I will enjoy. I do and I will enjoy. So it's identification with the body. One aspect of ego is identification. One aspect of ego is it is a bundle of past memories. Another aspect of ego is it will give separateness. It'll always, ego is the one that I am better than her, or I am richer. This I am thing, which is differentiating me from everybody else. That ego has to be deleted, has to be watered down, has to be reduced, has to be finally erased for final liberation. If you erase your ego completely, you're a realized master. So that's why at a higher level, anahankara becomes jnanam. But to get to that stage, we should start reducing our attachments to our body, to our world, to the world, to the people, situations. All these attachments have to reduce. And the more the dispassion arises, the less will be the attachment. So dispassion and attachment are inversely proportional. More attachment, less dispassion. More dispassion, the attachment will be less. So dispassion has to be developed. Evacha janma mrityu jara vyadhi dukkha dosha anudarshanam. So look at, understand. You can't look physically, but By look means darshanam, understand. Understand the dukkha, the sorrow in janma. Even in birth, there is sorrow. Of course, it is considered as a very happy occasion that the child has born. But in the womb also, the fetus undergoes a lot of suffering. So for us, it is self-analysis. So a birth has taken place for us. Understand it is because of the vasanas. It is because that there are some desires. It is because that there is 50% papa in human birth. 50% is papa. So half your life, something sorrowful is going to come. So understand that. Mrityu, Janma Mrityu, the cycle. There is, you're only going, like in Kathopanishad, the Guru says, Lord Death says, people are going from death to death. He doesn't even say birth to birth. We at least say birth to birth, we go cycle of birth. They're going from, they're dead only. Like those who do not have this vision of getting out of this cycle, they're going from death to death. Sarvam kshanikam kshanikam, sarvam dukkham dukkham. Gautam Buddha. So everything is fleeting and therefore it is sorrowful. So if you want to catch something which is not fleeting, which is not going to fleet, which is not going to flee from you, it is the reality. And for that, you must understand that there is pain in this cycle of, see, we don't understand that. We think life is going on very happily. Where is the pain? That is the problem. That's why we don't want to go for spiritual studies. Why are most of us not in this? Because we think everything is going fine and dandy. What is wrong? There is nothing wrong. What is Bhagavad Gita saying? Even in chapter 6, Bhagavan has said already that this sukha is a dukkha yoni. Whatever sukha you get is a womb of sorrow. And Samarth Ramdas, in his verses to the mind, he says, there's a verse saying that consider all joys to be sorrows. All joys to be sorrows? What do you mean? It means that when you get a joy, that means your merit is exhausted. And consider sorrow to be joy. Why? Because when sorrow comes, your demerit is getting exhausted. Understand this. See, people don't understand this. That's the problem. So this is what dukkha, vyadhi. There is adi and vyadhi, diseases to the body. They will keep happening. Diseases to the mind are there. They will also happen. All this is dukkha only. So understand that. Asakti anabhishwangha. Asakti, non-attached. Sakti, attachment. Asakti, non-attachment. So to putra dara and anabhishwa, non-identification with self. So self is translated with a small s. So identification with putra dara graha adishu. Putra, progeny, son or daughter. Putra is son, but daughter included. Dara, wife, spouse, wife or husband, spouse, and house. So I become very identified with these three things. Adi, etc. means all other things are following. Okay. So that there should be non-attachment. If there is enough dispassion, there will be enough non-attachment to these things as well. Okay. And nityam cha samachittatvam. Nityam, always samachit. Equanimity of mind has to be maintained in the greatest of joys as well as in the greatest of sorrows. And that is very, very important. Ishta, Anishta, Upapattisho. Ishta will also come. Ishta is something which I like. Anishta will definitely come. That's something which I don't like. Why? Because birth is 50% merit and 50% demerit. So you cannot have, nobody can say my life is all happy, happy, happy only from A to Z. It's not, or nobody can say my life is miserable only from birth to death. It can't be. It can't be. So therefore, what these two will definitely come. We have no control over it, but maintaining the balance of my mind, we have control. It is my mind. I can control it. That control we must have. Mai cha ananya yogena bhakti avyabhicharini. So what is required is ananya bhakti, exclusive devotion to myself. And myself here, not to be understood as Krishna, as Krishna personified, person Krishna, but the supreme reality. Or if you are through bhakti, this is knowledge, but through bhakti, then you can say, okay, I'm very devoted to my Krishna, but the understanding has to be there that this is not just the form of Krishna, this is the supreme reality. So Ananya exclusive means all other supports to be given up. The only support should be of God, because ultimately only He can help us, honestly. Nobody else can help us, only Him. Vivikta desha sevitvam. So solitude, we should be happy in solitude. How many of us are not? We think we are trapped in the house, in the room, in this. I want to go out. I want to do this. There is agitation. That means there is agitation in the mind, which should not be. And jana samsidi aratihi. Jana. So this jana is those people who are extroverted. Because when you remain in the company of people who are extrovert, therefore even in Narad Bhakti Sutra, dussanga tyajah, he has said, Narad Bhagwan says, give up dussanga. Now, what is dussanga? Bad sanga. We can say, oh, I don't mix with criminals and, bad people. No, for a spiritual seeker in Vedanta, dussanga is is a person who is extroverted. So what that person does is he says, why are you doing all this? Why do you want to go for class? Why do you do this? So he will pull you. And it is our experience. You kind of be somebody in the company of somebody who's smoking. One day or the other, you're going to feel like smoking. Experience this for yourself if you haven't. I have previously, because a very close friend of mine was a smoker. And we would go out quite a bit. I mean, for movies or dinner or anything. And one day I did say to her, I said, you know what, why don't I would like to smoke a cigarette. And she was very good. What she did was she put out her cigarette and she put her cigarettes away and she said, Jaya, you are not going to touch even a single cigarette. Now that was good of her. But most people are not. They're like, yeah, why are you not? Why are you not? I don't know if I told you in the last, I met a person who after retirement now is attending Gita classes of Parthasarthi, doesn't matter. Now his friends are telling him, all your life, though you didn't attend. Now in the late age, why are you attending? See, that is dussanga. Where it comes to Vedanta, that they're good people. They're his friends. They've been friends all their life. They're good people, educated people. He's a PhD in chemistry. He was working for the nuclear something or the other for the Canadian government, right? So high post. All people are also high post. Now he's slowly, after retirement, something has happened. So now he's attending Bhagavad Gita classes. And now his friends are saying, what is the point of you doing it now? So he was asking me. He asked me. I said, no, they are wrong. You better continue. Doesn't matter. You've started. You will continue in your next life. Don't give up. Don't give up. That is dussanga. And when you remain in company of such people for a long time, you might get pulled. If you're not steadfast in your path, you will get pulled. You will shake. You will shake. And that's why in the initial stages of spiritual studies, we are told this now, arati janasam, this is not satsang. Otherwise, I shouldn't be in this company also. That is not what is meant here. Satsang, it must be done. We must actually be more and more in the company of people who are on this path. So they are on the path and they'll encourage us to stay on the path. That is very essential. Very, very essential. This is what he says. And put your complete faith in me. And by me, it doesn't mean Krishna. So any deity that you, this thing, as per the book, pure self. He's talking from the standpoint of the absolute reality. So put your faith in the absolute reality or put your faith in Ishvara. That is what it is. We were on the last, did I read 12? Did I read and, because my bookmark is here, we have to start. Okay, so this is now the final conclusion, verse 12. Let's read it again, doesn't hurt. Adhyatmanyana nityatvam tattvanyanartha darshanam etat jnanamiti proktam adnyanam yadatonyatha. Constancy in self-knowledge, perception of the end of true knowledge. This is declared to be knowledge, and what is opposed 2 is ignorance. So starting from Amanitvam up to Adhyatma Jnana Nityatvam is the 20-point program. It ends there. Okay. So the last qualification that is given is Adhyatma Nityatvam. Now this also we need to understand at 2 levels. This word will come even in 15, but Adhyatma Jnana, Adhyatma self. Jnana, knowledge. Okay, so knowledge of the self. What does he mean? Adhyatma Jnana Nityatva. Nitya, always, eternal. So at a very basic level, the first thing is that attending these classes, that also falls under, means Nitya, because weekly you're attending a class. Okay, so Adhyatma Nitya. So weekly you're now. Once you, in the beginning stages, even I used to only attend on Saturdays and then it was done for me. But what needs to be done is, okay, it's not Saturday to Saturday. All other days, you must at least give 5 minutes of your time to reading something spiritual. Swami Chidanand was there with us. He's no longer with the mission. Way back, there was a show. I don't know whether it's there now, by Barbara Walters. 2020 it was called. I don't know if anyone of you remembers. There was a show called 2020. It was an interview that Barbara Walters used to do. Our Swamiji came up with 20-20-20 program. And he was propagating it wherever he used to do yajnas. So 20 minutes for the body, exercise, physical exercise. He said, spiritual progress. If you want spiritual growth, spiritual progress, spiritual evolution, this is where you have to start. 20 minutes of exercise for the body, 20 minutes of some sort of reading, okay, for the mind, and then 20 minutes of meditation, contemplation. Whatever you've read, think about it. And then later on, he added another 20 to it, Karma Yoga, 20 minutes of Karma Yoga. When I started my journey with this. So I used to go for a walk for 1 hour. So that was covered. Body was covered. Walk is done. 20 minutes of reading and 20 minutes of thinking I started doing. When I started telling this in my classes way back, even before I went to Sandeepani, I shortened the time. I said, I'll tell you, okay, 20 minutes. People are, oh, I don't have time, 20. Okay, 5, 5, 5. 10, 10, 10. Start your journey. You know that if there is a snowball, literally on the mountain, and that snowball is coming down, what will happen? It'll gather mass and momentum, right? There's a small, tiny, it starts so small, but as it is coming down, there'll be more and more snow, and as it comes down, it'll become faster and faster. And when you start with 5 minutes of reading and 5 minutes of exercise and go around the block once. If you're not doing anything at all, go around the block once. But reading is very essential. You must sit down and be able to give minimum 5 minutes of your time, no matter what your schedule is. Somewhere along the line, you need, that will convert Rajas into Sattva. Because Rajasic person cannot sit down. Even for 2 minutes, there's like what to do. There's a whole to-do list. No, for spiritual evolution. So start with 5 minutes. And as that snowball gathers momentum, even your sadhana, your self-effort will gather momentum. That is where I started. I have ended up in Sandeepani for 2 years. This is my journey, I'm telling you. That's why I know. That is one stage of Adhyatma. Every day there must be some, it is not Saturday. You know, like, can you say, oh, you know what, anyway, 5 days, I'll eat today only 1 day for 5 days, and then I won't eat for the next 4 days. Or can you say, oh, today I'll do 2 hours of exercise, walking, because I have time today, 2 hours. Tomorrow, no walking. Is the doctor going to allow it? Or you're on an antibiotic course. 5 days, why bother? Take all 5 tablets in 1 day. Is it going to work? Think, in ordinary life, these things don't work. How they will work in the spirit? Once a week I'm attending, I'm very spiritual. I attend the class, finish. End of story. That's why Gurudev has kept this discussion group happens after the teaching, right? That you got to think for yourself. So the next stage of Adhyatma Jnanam is every day there must be some reading. If you can't read for 20 minutes, 10 minutes. When I started, we have the small Holy Gita book, small one, red cover, just with the meaning, word meaning, no commentary. Similar book I still have it, Marathi. It's in Marathi. So the verse is there and the meaning of the verse. That book I started reading, I decided 15 verses per day I'm going to read. So that is where you can start. You don't have to start with 15 verses. You can start with 5 verses. You can start with 1 verse per day. But then that discipline, no matter what happens, I will read this 1 verse and the meaning. If you can give time for 5 verses, do 5. If you can give time for 10, do 10. I could give time for 15. I used to do 15. I went through the whole Gita. Then I came back. And like this, I have gone in circles with the Bhagavad Gita. So it gives you an overall idea of what it is there. And there are pointers that you can use in your life, which I did use. I've gone through with 2 children. I mean, I have gone through everything. I've seen it all, right? But that is what helped me. And that is how there was more and more desire to know, more and more desire to learn. Adhyatma, this is how it'll lead you to the top. Now, Nitya, if you take it as 24/7, then the reading part is not going to work. Because nobody can read for 24 hours. 24/7, nobody can read. Bhagavan Shankaracharya also slept for a few hours. Gurudev slept for a few hours. Nobody can do it. So what does Adhyatma Nitya then finally mean? Adhyatma Nitya, if you want to follow, what it is what you're going through life is experiences, right? Every moment, there is a different experience. In and through each and every experience of our life, if we can bring God in that thing, it becomes Adhyatma Nitya. That is the final. Like anything good comes, immediately it should be, thank you, Lord. Good came. Anything bad comes, it should be, okay, Lord, you have given this to me. Now you give me the strength to bear this. If you can bring God, no matter how you do it, it doesn't matter. In my other classes, I've said, you make a grocery list, put Om. That's what I learned from Guruji, because when Guruji used to, on all his emails also, on top Om. Or whatever he wrote on pieces, whatever piece of paper, Om. Previously, when he used to write letters, when there was no email, Om on top. So what happens is, when I put that Om on top, I have invoked the Supreme Reality right there. And invoke the Supreme Reality even in ordinary mundane thing like a grocery list. Because you're getting the merit for it. You have remembered the Lord. That's a plus point for us. And so simple. So simple. Lighting a lamp in front of our altar every morning. That is the whole idea. Why do we light a lamp? You're invoking the Lord first thing in the morning, and then throughout the day he remains with you. Then we are also told at night, please take his name so that he remains in your subconscious. All these are told. This is Adhyatma Jnana Nityatvam. But that time we didn't understand. Now understand it. Now we are reading it. Now understand why it was being done. Understand the importance of bringing the Lord in every transaction, in every breath. That's why Arjun, he was breath, Krishna, 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 apparently it was heard. That is Adhyatma Jnana Nityatvam. If you can do that, you realized. So practice it. Practice it. So these are the levels. So at least if you are reading already, perfect. Every day. You must not think that this is done. The Saturday class is done 11 o'clock till next Saturday 10 o'clock. I don't have to open my book. I don't have to think about it. That's not Adhyatma Nitya. This is once in 7 days, not enough. Okay, so Adhyatma Jnana Nitya. This is Tattva Jnanartha Darshanam. So all these 20-point program, when you follow, this will give you the darshan, not a physical darshana, but the understanding of Tattva Jnana. And this Tattva Jnana, Etat Jnanam Iti Proktam. So this is This is the knowledge, because he asked what is Neyam and Jnanam. This is what now Bhagwan is answering. This is Jnanam. Now, Jnanam we have to understand. There are two types of Jnanam. Two types of knowledges are there. So one knowledge is where you get the knowledge, but the result, for the result of that knowledge, there has to be more work done. So there has to be a movement in time and space. And I'll give you an example. So you go to university and you get a degree. Now, if I'm holding a piece of paper in my hand, which is my degree, what is the purpose that I went for the degree? Is for happiness. Or did I think, oh, I will be happy when I have some money. I will be happy when I have a house, when I have a car, whatever. Now, holding that piece of paper in my hand, is it giving me money directly? Is somebody sending me money? Oh, you got the degree. Oh, yeah, here is your paycheck now. No, I have to write a resume. I have to go interview, give an interview. I have to then get a job. Then I have to, in this country, 2 weeks. In India, 1 month to get a paycheck, first paycheck. So that is also knowledge. Degree is knowledge. You got a knowledge. Is that knowledge what Bhagwan is talking about here? Where there is a delay, getting knowledge and getting the final result for which you have got that knowledge, there is a delay. There is a delay. That is one type of knowledge. And the second type of knowledge is Aham Brahmasmi knowledge, where getting the knowledge and the result is simultaneous. There is no more further movement in time and space. All the movement is before the first type of knowledge, before there is a whole lot of movement. You started in kindergarten. Then you reached high school and then college and then university and then you got a degree. Then again, you still have to wait. And you may not get that job even. I have a medical degree. Suddenly, can I just start dispensing medicine? I can't. So there is that deal. There is work before and there is work afterwards also. After the degree. Before degree also there's hard work. After degree also there is hard work. And that hard work has to keep continuing throughout life. Because suppose you don't perform well in that job, you're going to get fired. You're going to get fired. Now, think about Aham Brahmasmi. You realize your own self. Immediate result. Is it going to ever leave you? Never leave you. Once you recognize your own self, that I can't call it a feeling, can't call it a state. Once you know who you really are, it can never go away from you. There is no falling from that. That is what Bhagwan is talking. That is the jnana that you will get with with these things, you may not get material prosperity. You will get, but you may not. Think about it. Because these are all internal virtues developing for the peace of mind. Just because you're of a peaceful mind doesn't mean that you'll get a degree. You need the intelligence to pass that exam to get the degree. So that it may not guarantee material prosperity, but spiritual prosperity, once you get, you will never lose it. And there is no gap between getting the knowledge and getting the result for which that knowledge is being attained. That is what Bhagwan here means. Etat jnanam iti proktam. This is the only knowledge which is to be known, which is worthy of knowing. Only knowledge, because you can never lose it. You will never lose it. Everything else is ajnanam. Everything else, ajnanam, kshetra. Everything else falls under ajnanam. Ignorance. That's what Bhagwan says. So that's why he has given this 20-point program. He has told Arjun, told us, that why am I not going directly into Kshetrajna? You need these values, or at least some of this we need. Now we're in 13th chapter, so some of them we have. Okay, some of them, if we think we don't, we need to try and develop. And now he gives the result. What is that which has to be known by the knowledge? Okay, this is what, in the answer to this question, it is said, Neyam yatat pravakshami yajñatvat mritam ashnute anadimat param brahma na sattat Na sattana saduchat nas, sorry, anadimat param brahma na sattana saduchate. I will declare that which has to be known, knowing which one attains to immortality, the beginningless supreme Brahman, called neither being nor non-being. Okay, Neyam, he asked, what is Neyam? What is Jnanam? There's a question there, right? Neyam. So understand, Neyam is the Dheya, Neyam, what is to be known. What should I know? What should I know? Yatat pravikshami. So what is to be known? Pravakshami. This vakshami has the dhatu, two dhatus it has. It has a vach dhatu. Vach is to speak, to tell. And vah dhatu. Vah dhatu is to carry. Okay, so Neyam is the goal. That is to be known. Now he's saying, this Neyam, I will pravakshami, prakarshena vakshami. So when you take it as the dhatu to mean vacha, to speak, prakarshena means so very well, I will tell you, means so very well means what? You will not have any choice but to understand, but to realize. That's what is meant by pravakshami, one meaning of that. And vaha means to carry. This vaha we heard in chapter 9. Yoga kshema vahamyaham. Aham vahami yoga kshema. This vaha, carry, means carry the load. Okay. So what he's saying here by using this pravakshami word is that I will not only tell you, but if you have done the 20-point program, I will carry your load. I will take you to realization. Wow, I am responsible. It is my responsibility to make sure that you realize. But there is a condition, the 20-point program. So not only will I tell you so very well, but it's my responsibility now to carry you to realization. And he does. In the 18th chapter, Arjun says, I remember who I really am. So he does. So this is what pravakshami means. Okay, here. Yajnatvat amruta ashnute. Having known immortality you will get. Immortality not of the body, but you will know that you are deathless. You are eternal. And what will it do? Oh, so what? If I'm deathless, then what? You will not have the fear of dying. That is the main fear that we have of death. There is one thing is death is one, but the fear of death is also killing us. Oh, what will happen to me? What will happen to me? What will happen to me? Knowing this knowledge, getting established in this knowledge, you will know that really nothing is going to happen to you. Because if you recognize yourself to be the supreme reality, nothing is going to happen to you. Whatever is going to happen to the body. It's going to get recycled. It is matter. Matter gets recycled. We are recycling left, right, and center. We are recycling things. This body is kshetra. Already Bhagavan said, body is kshetra. Kshetra is matter. Matter is recyclable. Matter never gets destroyed. Quantum physics. In its ultimate stage of destruction, matter converts into energy. So really even matter is not getting, there is nothing like death. Because the soul is immortal. This is what you will understand. What will you get by this knowledge? Arjun can ask or we can ask, so what was the big deal? 20-point program I do, then you say this is what is to be known. What's the big deal? You become fearless. There's nothing that you'll be afraid of. Anadi Matparam Brahma. This Brahman, is Anadi, beginningless. Means it was there before creation. It is there during creation. It will remain after creation. And what is the knowledge? The knowledge is I am that Brahma. I am that Brahman, which was there before creation, right now and after dissolution. So if we go to our snake and rope example, the rope was there before I saw the snake. The rope becomes anadimat. This word has to be understood very clearly. Anadimat. Rope is anadimat. Snake it has a beginning and it has an end. But rope was there. If the rope was not there only, would you have seen the snake? So the rope was already there. Then you walked into the room. There was not very much light. So you saw the snake and now you got scared. Then the friend walked in and turned the light on. Snake suddenly disappeared. Did the rope disappear? Rope is there only. Anadimat. Or electricity. In a brand new condo, like I walked into this condo, the electricity was already there, wasn't it? Before the appliances came, the electricity was there in the walls. Then they brought in the appliances and they plugged them in, and now the appliances are working. So electricity was there before. Suppose I choose to leave the condo and go away, and I want to take all my appliances. So I will take all my appliances and go away. Anything is going to happen to the electricity. Anadimat. Anadimat. That which was there before, that which is there today, that which will remain after, that is which is real in the 3 periods of time, is Anadimat. And that Brahma is Anadimat. And you will recognize yourself to be that Brahman. That is what is going to give you fearless. That is the knowledge that needs to be known. That's what he said in the previous. That is the only knowledge that is even worthy of knowing. Everything else is ignorance. Because it doesn't take away the fear. The main thing about material, this is what I've thought and thought and thought. People get degrees and degrees and degrees and money and money and money. And I have seen so many super rich people so afraid. So afraid. I met a specialist, retired doctor. And I said, how are you? He said, I am a dying old man. I said, you're a doctor. Tell me who is not dying. You're not special. I said, I'm dying too. What's the big deal? Suddenly he said, no. I said, yeah, you're a doctor. I said, you've been a doctor all your life. You tell me who is not going to die. You tell me. Fear. Fear. It doesn't take away fear. And this person is really super, super rich, super educated. That's the problem. That's the importance of this knowledge. If you don't want to live in constant fear, you need this knowledge. You need it. Now, na sat, na asat, uchate. It is said that this is neither sat nor asat. This also has to be understood very well. What do you mean neither sat nor asat? Because sat and asat are again, it's a pair of opposites. What needs to be understood is that if I call Brahman as sat, then the sat is opposite of asat. That means there is some other entity which is opposing to Brahman. We have said Brahman is non-dual, one without a second. If I say, okay, it is asat, it is not there, but it is there. Because am I saying I'm not there? I can say all of you are not there. Computer is not there. Condo is the world is not there. I can say, but who is the one that is saying it is not there? That means that person is there. No. So can anybody say I am asat? I'm not here. So you can't say asat. You can't say sat. Because sat, if you say, then there is something opposed as asat. What needs to be understood about Brahman? Brahman is that which illumines sat as well as asat. So it is not opposed to sat. It is not opposed to asat. It is not one of the pairs of opposites. The world is a pair of opposites. Joy, sorrow, summer, winter, spring, fall. World is always day, night, joy, sorrow, honor, dishonor. The world is always, there is two things in the world. But in Brahman, the Brahman is the one that is illumining sat. Or if I say, I know chemistry. Okay, so how do I know that I know chemistry? Is because of Brahman. Because of the living conscious principle within me, I know that I know chemistry. At the same time, I'm saying I do not know physics. There is knowledge of chemistry, ignorance of physics. Who is the one that is telling me that I'm ignorant of physics? What is that entity which is telling me? So if there is an entity which is illumining the ignorance, how can it be called as asat? How can it be called as ignorance? It is illumining the knowledge of chemistry, and it is also illumining the knowledge of ignorance of physics. Because ignorance also is known. I know that I'm ignorant of physics. I know. Therefore, it cannot be called as Sat and Asat. I'll give you one more example to explain. You walk into a dark room, a pitch dark room. And when you walk, because my daughter actually, she went into this cave and she said, Mom, it was so dark when the headlight was switched off from this thing. She said, it was like, she said, other darkness, your eyes get used to it, but the darkness because the cave was 450 feet below ground. So it was so dark. She said the eyes they never got used to the darkness. But she saw the darkness outside, but did she not know that she was standing in there? So there was light within. Within her, there was light inside. When she switched that outside light off, the artificial light off, there was pitch darkness, which she herself illumined, because she came out and she told me, Mom, it was so dark. It was so dark. How did you know? So that is that Brahman. This Anadi Mat Param Brahma, Supreme Brahman, is that Brahman which is illumining her presence in that cave. Or we can use our example. I walk into a pitch dark room. It is illumining my presence as well as it is illumining the darkness outside. So it is the substratum for both the awareness as well as the darkness. It is the substratum for both Sat and Asat. And that is what Brahman is. It is neither Sat nor Asat. That is how this word has to be understood. Are there any questions?
Yes, I have a question. So I understand exactly what you're saying. However, I would like to understand how to reconcile what this shloka is saying with the standard description of Brahman as Sat, Chit, Anandam.
Yes. So
there we say it is Sat.
Yes, it is Sat, but that Sat there is existence. How are you translating it into English?
What is this Sat then?
This is knowledge, truth, knowledge. Sat and Asat, false and true.
Because in the word translation, the meaning that is given is being. So that sounds just like existence, right?
Being and non-being. So being is what? Being is something which I see. It is knowledge. Being is, objectively, is knowledge. Na? I know chemistry. Sat. I do not know physics. Asat. I do not know. Sat and Asat words, you have to understand it correctly. It is Sat Chit Ananda. Even Sat Chit Ananda, three words are not required. They're not like, what should I say? It is, they're not three different things. Do you understand that? Sat and Chit and Ananda, are you thinking that they are three different words?
As words, they are different.
Okay, but are they one or are they three? Think about that.
Yeah, I have to think.
Think about that. We will revisit this next time. Okay, think about that. The words are being used only because our intellect cannot understand without words.
Correct, yeah.
You know, actually, we cannot use words to describe Brahman.
Yes.
So, Sat and Asat, that's why I'm telling you, understand Brahman to be the substratum of both Sat and Asat. If you go into the word being, how does it compare to Sat Chit Ananda? Sat Chit Ananda also is not three different words. So we'll come back